Hey, what's up, you guys? Your boy Jay with Louie Lures. So check this out. Today I'm gonna give you a rundown on basically I'm gonna teach y'all how to catch more fish. Now a lot of people are have the misconception that you need expensive lures to catch fish, and you really don't. You know, you don't need expensive lures. It's how you fish them. You can use chatterbait, actual chatterbait, or use something that you made, which was I already showed you how I did it on one of the other previous videos. But yeah, okay, and it worked just as good. Of course, mine probably worked better. Anyways, so yeah, I'm gonna run y'all down through the buzz baits, run y'all through square bill crankbaits, a little bit of round bill crankbaits, lipless crankbaits. I'm gonna run y'all through spooks, topwater frogs, and soft baits, and teach you how to fish them. All right. So check this out. So people were asking because I was fishing in the winter and catching bass, and they were like, "Well, how are you catching bass? You can't catch bass in the winter." Yes, you can. You just got to know where to find them. So during colder temperatures, bass tend to move towards deeper parts of the water. You know what I'm saying? Towards deeper into the water because the temperature there tends to stay the same, so it's a little warmer. And they go they they stop eating basically. You know what I'm saying? They stop eating. So when they're in this trance, in this state, you basically have to throw the lure on top of their head for them to bite it, and that's if they're not lazy. So you have to make it appetizing for them. Make it worth their while for them to move, and it's just deeper ends. Now during the spring, which of course pre-spawn season, post-spawn season, it's different. Now during the best times to fish are during the morning when the sun is barely coming out. In the middle of the day, you can fish too, but you have to go towards deeper ends. And in the afternoon, when they go back towards the shallow end, you see because the water is too hot now on the shallow areas, like in the bank, if you're pond fishing or the lake, um, and during the daytime when the sun's highest, they tend to go to the deeper ends of the water because the water is a little bit cooler. And again, you gotta know how to fish them. It's just easier to catch them during the spring because they're down there, but they're still active. And of course, in pre-spawn season, all the fish are stocking up on all their food because once they start to spawn, once they start throwing the spawn, when they're fry or born, they will not move. They will stay like that for about a month. I'm saying they'll for a while. Maybe not a month, but give or take. You know what I'm saying? But they stick that. They won't eat. The only way they'll eat is if it basically lands on top of their head. You know, so they're stocking up on all their food. And yeah, so the way to fish them is literally the opposite. But and then on the post spawn season, when they come out of it, when they're coming out of it, they're hungry again and they're biting. But same thing, shallow ends when it's hot. Shallow ends when it's cool, deeper ends when it's hot. So I'm gonna run it down on both sides of cheaper and more expensive lures, and show you how to get them. So let's go. All right. First, we're gonna start with the soft baits. The soft baits, you can't ever go wrong with the Senko. Same goes. Texas rig 'em or wacky rig 'em, you can't go wrong. My personal opinion, I wacky rig 'em. For all you guys that don't know what a wacky rig is basically having more of a circular hook. You see, I fish with two types of hooks. That's it. An EWG offset, which still has my string on it because I was fishing a little bit earlier, or more of a circular hook, which I use for the Texas rig. It's a little shorter. You can see the difference. One's offset, one's not. See? Offset, not. Alright? So, for the Texas rig, of course, you add a worm weight. Okay? You add a worm weight to your hook, to your line first, nose in first, because it has to sit flush. And what I mean by flush is, this is going to hit right on top, like this, and your hook is going to go from there to there. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to tie your hook and then run it through, just like this. Alright? Wacky rig, You can use bullet weights, like the slender weights that you can put on inside if you want to throw it a little further, or if you have a super salty one, they sink, and plus they sink better. But my parents, sometimes I use the bullet weights, sometimes I don't. You know what I'm saying? But all it is you can either buy the little the the O rings. You know what I'm saying? The black rubber O rings that are about the size of your Senko worm, and you slide them in all the way to about the middle, and you can hook them from the top. Boop, like hook them right from the ring. Hook the ring instead of the worm. Makes the worm last a little longer, but not the same thing. You grab your worm, you grab your hook, and right around the middle, a little bit closer to the fatter end, because it's the weight makes a big difference. So you just basically boom, slide it in, and now you have, you know what I'm saying? When you jerk it in the water, so you have to throw it around the bank too. You know what I'm saying? Like start at your middle, throw a couple times, but stand far back. Because the fish do tend to see, if they see you, they'll get iffy about biting and stuff. Fish are smart, believe it or not. Bass are really smart. And throw it there a couple times, let it sit, boom, boom, jerk it a couple times, let it sink. What it's gonna do, it's gonna do this. It's gonna sway. It's gonna go boop, boop, boop to the bottom. Same thing, all the way back. Try not to fish around. You can still do grass and everything, but where there's not a lot of lay downs, like as far as like branches and stuff like that, because the hook is exposed, so it will get caught. But if you know how to fish, you can always throw it towards towards, even when there's grass, and just know, kind of look, pay attention to your surroundings, pay attention what's there, and you can just boom, 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 pop it over or whatever, and then let it sit. Boom, boom, pop it over. A lot of times those bass are gonna sit in those pockets because they're ambush predators. They're waiting for something to swim by so they can, you know. And so yeah, these. Now, the Senko. Another one of my favorites is a crawdad. You know what I'm saying? The craw. These are the bad craws. Bad craw, same thing as the Senko when you Texas rig it, except with the bad craw. Where did I put my? It's over here. You can do the same thing, the same Texas rig. Wait a moment. Let's get rid of that. So same thing. You're gonna grab the bad craw. You're gonna your line, add the worm weight. You're gonna go over the top. Boom, pop it through. Turn it around. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna lay it down right beside your craw and see where this part of the line is at. And all you're gonna do is mark it, turn it sideways a little bit, go right through there to the top, come out of the top like this, boom, and it's gonna sit like that, and then you hide the hook. You pull it back a little bit, pick it up, boom, and hide it just like that, and again, this is gonna sit just like this, or the top of it, just like that. And the way when I Texas rig, sometimes I'll pop and sometimes I'll drag. It depends. Just to catch their attention the first toss. If nothing gets them on the initial drop, which on the initial fall, most of the time, some of the times, like they'll hit it, But what I'll do is I'll just boom, 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 jerk it a couple times, because bass have something called a lateral line. The lateral line sits on the side of the body. It's the black line on the side of the body that goes from their head all the way to the tail. And that is a sensory organ. What it does is it notifies the fish when that's how they find their prey. It notifies them when something's in the water, when there's changes in pressure in the water, when there's movement in the water, any vibration, they sense it through that line. That's how they find you. That's how they find their food. So I'll tap it a couple times, boom, boom, just to let them know that it's there, so they can because a lot of times they're gonna go and they're gonna look at it and see what it is, and then if I'm popping it, then I'll boom, pop it again, and they'll look at it, then I'll pop it again. It might take 2, 3, sometimes 6, 7 times, but most of the times they're gonna boom. As soon as you pop it on the initial fall, they're gonna grab it, boom, and they're gonna slam it. Right? Not all the times they're gonna jerk the line. Sometimes they'll grab it, just suck it in, and then they're gonna move. You'll see your line move. Pay attention to your line. And when I'm dragging it, same thing. I'll throw it in, boop, 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 pop it a couple times just to let them know it's there, and then I'll slowly just grab my pole, put it towards my side. I'll either pull up really slow to about 12 o'clock, and then I'll reel, take my slack off, and then do it again, and then reel, take my slack off, and do it again. Or you can do the same thing, but just put it sideways. What you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your pole, and then you're gonna just look to the side. You know what I'm saying? And drag your pole sideways. You know what I'm saying? Take off your slack, drag it slowly sideways. You don't want to reel it because it's too fast, and a lot of times and let's say this is the bottom. What the bait will do is it'll be like this. You know what I'm saying? It'll be floating. You don't want that. You want this bait to drag across the bottom, hit everything, every little bump that it hits. If it's a bump, it's gonna make, you know what I'm saying, boom. It's gonna make a vibration. Every little bump. And but you do it for a little. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna pull it, take your slack off. That's gonna give it a pause. During that pause, it's when the majority of the bass are gonna bite it. They're gonna say, okay, it's still. Boom, they're gonna grab it. You know. Okay. So that's for that. I sometimes use those crawls as trailers too. You can use them as trailers for your buzz baits, for your finesse, your finesse jigs. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, finesse jigs. Sometimes I use a paddle tail depending on what I'm doing. If I'm dragging it across the bottom or if I'm popping and letting it sit. Okay, so there's that. You can set them up either way. You have other ones like, you know what I'm saying. You have different crawls. You know what I'm saying. Now let's go to your crankbaits, square bill crankbaits. I use deep diving crankbaits, but not a lot. You know what I'm saying? I use more of these. Now you can go with something expensive. You know what I'm saying? Like this one from 6 cents. This, believe it or not, if it's murky water, that's the thing about spring. We still have rain, so a lot of water gets stirred up and it gets muddy. You know what I'm saying? Or stained. During those times is when you want to pull these out. Now these are meant to bounce off of things. They're meant to deflect off of things. So you want to put not all the way down, but you want to maintain a little bit of the contact with any rock. I throw these around rocks. If there's like logs or anything like that, just don't jerk it hard so you don't get your hooks caught. But it won't. But if you do feel something, boom, just let it off your slack, and this will flow back to the top. Once you see it, you can see it. Just shimmy out again. You know what I'm saying? With these, my retrieve is I'll throw it, boom, 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 reel in. Every once in a while, boom, boom, give it a couple taps, just so it, you know what I'm saying? And don't go too fast, don't go too slow. You want to maintain that, but you want to maintain a steady movement. Every once in a while, boom, tap it. You know what I'm saying? Don't keep your tip up. You want to keep it either pointed straight out or a little bit down. You want to maintain contact, but not too much. You don't want to drag it across the bottom because it'll come out with salad all every time, you know. But these will rip the vegetation. They're meant to do that. You know what I'm saying? You're reeling it. If you feel a little pressure, a little heaviness, it's probably grass. And if it's the grass, you boom, jerk it through and it'll rip through it. That is when the bass are triggered to bite it. If there's a bass sitting by, he's gonna snap at it. He's gonna get it. All right. So you can use the expensive kinds, or you can go with something more like the ones that I make. You know, like the shad. So like this shad. Right? Same thing. This one has a heavy rattle. You know what I'm saying? It makes noise. Actually, no, this one's more of a mellow. It's not too, but it's just a square bill crankbait. It's just a little bit bigger. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit bigger. It's a little dirty. It's putting a little work in, but you know, it's not a shad. It's a bluegill. This is a bluegill pattern. You know, but this is really good. It has a little bit of flake on top. You know, so it reflects a lot. See, when a lure moves through the water, it shimmies. You know what I'm saying? It does this. It does this. It moves like that. So this flake makes it reflect a lot. You know, catches their attention. But you fish it the same way. You know, I just like to make mine a little bit longer, just because the hook's gonna be sitting back, and it makes it to where I can rip it through stuff better, and my hooks don't get caught. You know, and so the colors for spring. Colors for spring are crawl, natural shad, or bluegill, or white. You know, usually if you're going like deep diving, you can get white. You can get some fire crawl too. Like I have two of them. I have like more of a vibrant, which is like this one. You know, same thing. This is a deep diving crankbait that I made. Same thing. You see, it's more of a so red and with a chartreuse bottom, so this catches their attention. You know, bright colors. If it's muddy water, I still use white or bone. Like bone is really good, or But yeah, but as far as that's deep diving. But square bills, this is another one. This is one of mine. Scuba crankbaits. It's the crawl. This is a subtle. It's not a real big rattle, but it's the movement, you know. But if it's muddy water, you want to remember muddy water, dark colors when it comes to the bank. You know what I'm saying? Or um, deep diving. You want it to silhouette a lot, you know. And yeah, so dark water, dark colors, light water, light colors, you know. So yeah, and now my personal opinion, I love this. I love this bait. This is one of my favorite square bills, and this is my Shadow Thumper OG. Now, this bad boy right here, I can't tell you how many fish have slammed it. Has a high glitter purple or magenta top. I'm saying so it reflects a lot with the what do you call it with the iridescent purple on the sides. You know what I'm saying? This camera makes my lures look white for some reason, but here. Okay, there you go. I had to wet it a little bit. Yeah, so you see this one. This one has got me so many. Same thing. It's a square bill, you know, but this one has it's a high rattle too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this catches me some monsters. I've caught some real big ones. I have some videos. I have a video that I posted of of a bass that I caught, and I caught it off of this one. You know, I've caught some monsters with this one. So yeah. So now, square bill crankbaits. Now, oh, this is one I failed to mention for like dark waters, square bill crankbait, but this has a heavy rattle. Okay. And this one I have caught some monsters on too. You know, this one I've caught some monsters on. And again, it's dark, but it's a craw pattern. You know, with a white bottom. And this catches a lot too. I've caught some good ones off of this one. So now let's move on to our next one. Hold on one moment. What the hell? Let me see. There you go. Golly, it took me long enough. And my finger stuck. Alright, so there you go. So there goes that. Now let's move on to the buzz baits. So for the buzz baits, again, you can go with something expensive or something something expensive like, you know, your actual chatterbaits, you know, bladed jigs, or buzz baits, whatever you want to call them, or something that I've made. It's just, you know, but they both work really good. It's how you fish them. Again, for dark muddy waters, you want to use a dark trailer. Normally I'll use like the brush hogs for the dark, you know, because it matches it a lot, you know. The brush hog is a bad boy. This is a bad boy. I'm saying for dark waters, or clear waters. And I either use for these. I usually either use, you know what I'm saying, different types of. I'd use different types of craws, but remember, it's not meant to mimic a craw. It's meant to mimic a shad or a bluegill, you know. But these, the same thing. When you retrieve these, if you're throwing them on deep ends or flat areas, as far as like rock bottoms that are bluegill beds or things like that, I usually keep my tip pointed straight out or a little bit lower, and I do a slow retrieve. If I feel any pressure, as far as like any heaviness, like the grass, I'll rip through the grass, and then, you know what I'm saying, keep going. It's meant to deflect off of things too. It's meant to bounce. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna bounce off of stuff. And that's one retrieve. You know what I'm saying? Or you can do reel and stop, which normally it's just and make it stop. It's meant to mimic eating bait fish, you know, and or an alarmed fish. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'll pull my tip up and I'll and then let it fall. let it sit there for a little bit, and then I'll reel it in a little bit, let it swim, and at the same time as I pull my tip up and boom, it'll go up and then let it fall, you know. So or you can keep it down and drag it across the bottom if it's beds, or if there's grass, throw it in grass. It's fine, you know. Throw it in grass, rip through the grass. This blade will rip through the grass, you know. Rip it through and boom. A lot of times that's gonna cause a reaction, you know. So we have that, or these. I'm telling you, these are your colors, the reds. I made this one yesterday, and I liked it. You know what I'm saying, with the red blade, and I got it slammed. He slammed it with the crawl on. You know what I'm saying, the little crawl. But yeah. So there's that. Now on to the frogs. So the frogs, again, you could go with something expensive like the Toe Thumper, you know, or you can go with something cheaper like the Ozark Trail. One thing I would tell you is that normally these come with a longer, with real long skirtings. You know, they're not meant to stay like that. So you got to remember that if the skirts on this are this long, the strike zone for a bass is normally going to be about that much. So if you have this much skirt and the bite is about this much, he's going to take the legs first because they're ambush predators. They're going to hit a bait from the back. Even if they're in the bottom, they're going to hit it from the back. You don't want those too long because he's only going to stop as soon as he feels those skirts. You know, he's going to grab the legs and he's going to miss these. See, the only way it gets the hooks is when it bites down on it and it exposes these hooks. You see? So he'll miss the lure completely. So what you want to do is you want to cut him a little bit, you know, to about 2.5 inches. About that long. Not much, you know what I'm saying? About that long. So the strike zone is a little deeper, you know, because now, you know what I'm saying? Now he has a better, now there's a better chance of you getting that bass, you know what I'm saying? And remember, there's thick hooks on it, so you really want to set it. If you feel him take it down, if you see it, you're not going to feel it, you're going to see him. He's going to, boom, almost jump out the water to get it. You know what I'm saying? Set the hook hard, you know what I'm saying? Put your tip down, and then, boom, jerk it to a 12 o'clock. You want to set it deep and keep it there. Because if he jerks, he's only going to set himself deeper. If you have your pull right here, and you only put it here, you're not going to set the hook that good, you know. Now the thing about this one is that with these frogs, either it being this one or this one, same thing is on how you fish them. Remember that the color really doesn't matter. Yeah, you can do darks because they silhouette a lot against the sun on the top, but you don't really want. It really doesn't matter too much as far as the tops go, because the fish, the only thing they see, the bass, the only thing they see is that. That's all they see, the white bottom, because all frogs have a white bottom, you know. So and another thing, on your retrieve for these, you want to throw it out there. I'm going to leave my pole to the side just a little bit. And at the same time that I'm reeling, I'm going to be popping. I'm doing this movement right here. You know, because the movement that you want out of this frog is this one. It's called a walk the dog action. What it's going to do is it's going to go boom, 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 and it's going to cause like a Z trail in the water, you know. It's going to look like a zigzag of water, like something swimming in the water. You don't want to just bring it. You can bring it straight in, but you're not going to get a lot of bites, you know. What you want to do is your first retrieve is boom, 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 boom. You want to do a long one, you know what I'm saying? Not too long, but give it about a good 15, about 15, you know, just to let them know that it's there. And then stop it, and it's going to sit just like that. Count to about 7 seconds, 5 to 7 seconds, and do it again. Boom, 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 and let it sit. So just jag it, let it sit for a little while, 7 seconds. Small bursts, you know, of about 5. Count to about 7, and again, boom, 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 let it sit. Majority of times on a third, fourth. I mean, it could be a little longer, but you let it sit, and the bass, believe it or not, can calculate on how long they have between each burst to see if they're going to be able to get to that bait or that lure before it starts moving again, so they don't miss it. You know, some bass miss it. They're just, I guess they're kind of slow, but yeah. So make sure you make it the same almost every time, so they can see the pattern and they'll bite it. You know. So there's that. Now we're gonna move to our spinnerbaits. And with the spinnerbaits, the action on the spinnerbaits is in the spring I usually use lighter colors like that, to like a table rock to mimic the shad, or I go with darker ones like red, orange, the craw patterns. The retrieve on these is on the trailer too. Normally, again, I love these so much, but I usually use these. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Throw it out there, let it sit at the bottom, and you retrieve it. Boom, 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 boom. You want it. This one is meant to go upwards. You know what I'm saying? Because whatever bass is sitting down there, it's gonna come up and grab it. Boom. You know what I mean? That's one way to fish it. Or again, throw it in the deep end and bring it in about 6 reels. You know what I'm saying? With your tip halfway up, not all the way up, just like that, and let it fall. You know, and bring it up again, and let it fall. You know what I'm saying? And that's one way. Another way that I retrieve them is I drag it across the bottom. I'll put my tip down, not all the way down, but just down. I'll let it drag it across the bottom, and I'll slow it down, and then every once in a while, press it real fast. What it does is it gives it the effect that if there's any bass around, it's gonna think it got caught, because usually they come in behind it, and the bass will think that it got caught. You know what I'm saying? It's because it's trying to get away, and that's what triggers them to bite. Or another retrieve is on the shore. You know what I'm saying? On the bank, you can throw it on the bank and keep your pole mid halfway, not all the way down, all the way straight out, but a little bit to an angle so you can feel the vibration. Because if you have it like this, you won't feel it as much as you have it a little bit at an angle, especially if you have more of a flimsier stick, like a lightweight. I usually use medium heavy. I use medium heavies for everything. But yeah. So you put it there and then just slowly retrieve it. You know what I'm saying? Let it sit a little bit and then retrieve it again. Keep retrieving, so it swims across the. You know what I'm saying? This will deflect. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna go over everything. You know what I'm saying? And you want that. That's what's gonna. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna see somebody. They're gonna be like, oh, boom, and grab it. But the craw, same thing. The craw colors. So there's that. And now, last but not least, you have your this is another one. You have your lipless crankbaits. Again, the two colors that you want to use for March are either a bluegill pattern. Okay, it could be something bought, or you can use something cheap. You know what I'm saying? Either one. You know what I'm saying? These are the ones that I make. But you want to go with the table rock, which again, table rock, it can be blue or purple, but this is the table rock color. So this one doesn't have too much of a chartreuse line, so I guess it would just be like mimic the shad, or a bluegill, baby bluegill. But or with craw color. You want to fish both of them the same exact way. So you're gonna throw it out there. Make sure there's not a lot of laydowns and things like that. Know what I'm saying? The other lures, you want to throw them around laydown, especially the square lip crankbait. You want to throw it around logs and stuff like that. You want to throw it on especially with rock. You want it to bounce off of things. That's what's gonna cause them to bite. With the lipless crankbait, you want to throw more to the deeper ends. You know what I'm saying? Or where there's if you're gonna throw it in the close to the bank, make sure it's just bed rocks. You know what I'm saying? Make sure it's just rock, or on a bluegill bed. That's what you want to do. Now with this one, you're gonna let it sit there, and you're gonna just again 5 times. You're gonna rip it up. You know what I'm saying? Make it go up, and let it drop. Rip it again, and let it drop. All the way back. You know what I'm saying? You don't. Once you start getting a little too close to the shore to where you're at, just reel it in all the way. You don't want to bring the bass, because what it's gonna do is if there's any bass following it, he's gonna boop, and he's gonna see it. And if it's too close to you, you're still trying to do it, and he sees you, he's not gonna bite that lure anymore. He's gonna move around. All right. Or same thing, if you are gonna throw it around cover like grass or anything, vegetation, do a steady retrieve. Because this will rip the grass too. You want it to rip. Every time when you feel a little bit of pressure, you feel like it's something there, boom, yank it. That burst out of the grass is just gonna trigger them. All right. So yeah, so that's about it. That's all I have for you today. Go out there, throw some lines, make some memories, have fun. Your boy Jay.